What's up, everybody? Before we begin, I would like to state that this video contains major spoilers for the full game of Closed Area. So if you would like to get the game for yourself without knowing what's going to happen, which I recommend, please click off of this video. And if you're still here, please enjoy the video. In the world of mobile games, there is a lot of garbage. Don't get me wrong, there's a lot of great mobile games, and I do play a lot of great ones on my phone and tablet. But for many mobile games, they're just bad. Oftentimes, it's just garbage for children, or a game that is just completely fake and looks nothing like the pictures. I find this a lot with farming games and trucking games, but there are also some diamonds in the rough. Today, I'm going to be talking about Closed Area, a game I love, and a game I don't think anyone on YouTube has talked about. At least not in a review format, or not in an analysis format. Sit back and relax as I talk about one of my all-time favorite mobile games, and quite possibly the greatest mobile driving horror game of all times. Closed Area has two versions, Closed Area Lite and Closed Area, aka the full game. Closed Area was developed by Alexandr Chuvanov. Closed Area Lite was released on November 3rd, 2015, on the Play Store at least. It included the first level of the three that would be in the full game. Closed Area, the full game, was released on October 31st, 2017, on the Play Store at least. Because if you're gonna release a horror game, why not do it on Halloween? It's perfect timing. The light version of the game is free, and the full version does cost some money. I got the game a long time ago, so I don't remember exactly how much money it was. But if you ask me, it is definitely worth it. So I actually checked during the making of this video, and it's actually only 99 cents, which is a great deal for how good the game is. I can't do this with a sweater on. This sucks. It's so hot in here. Like I said, the light version is just the first level of the full game. So I'm just going to be going through the full game here. I got these games a long time ago, and I still remember how it happened. I really liked the game Beware. Yeah, that old driving horror game. I watched a lot of people play it on YouTube. I did way more mobile gaming at the time, so I thought, I wonder if there's any cool games like this on the Play Store. Next thing you know, I came across Closed Area Lite. I downloaded it, loved it, and a while later, bought the full version. I love this game, and still come back to it every once in a while. I've completed it probably around 3 to 5 times, and played through the first 2 levels probably 10 plus times. Okay, this is after I've wrote the whole script and recorded all the gameplay. After recording all that gameplay, those numbers have probably shot up so high that I know this game like front to back now, like back of my hand. Yes, it's a different day now, don't worry about it. So without further ado, let's get right into it. When we first boot up the game, we're greeted with these menus, which I really enjoy. I really love the images and the vibe they give off. The first image we see after the Made with Unity logo is a cloudy, desolate gravel road. There's a thunderstorm off in the distance. The road is in the middle of nowhere. On the main menu there are 4 options. At the top you can select the language, either English or Russian. Next you can start the game. Below that is the settings, and finally below that is exit. Also, if you already have a game going in between language and new game, you can choose continue. Before we go further into the game, let's look at settings. In the settings, there's not much. The only option is whether you want to have tilt steering or button steering. I personally use button steering. Once you're in the game, you can also pull up settings and choose steering. And also see your FPS, which is nice. I love it when games show the FPS. The picture for the settings menu is an old room of a power plant with a mostly gray color palette. Okay, now time to get into the real game. I first want to point out I absolutely love the loading screens in this game. I do. They are great. Simply for their pictures. The 3 images are black and white, and I will get to the other 2 later, but here is the first one. It's a power station in somewhere I can only guess is Eastern Europe in Russia. The area looks a little desolate, with tall grass. The trees are either dead, or it's late fall or early spring, from what I can tell. And it looks like it's somewhere in the plains of Russia. This is the first of 3 amazing images. We open in a concrete tunnel, in a Gaz 3110, aka a Volga, as the description of the game says. There's a barricade behind us keeping us from leaving, which to me basically acts as a big text box that basically says you're fucked, so I guess we're in for it. The way starting the car works in this game, yes, you have to start the car. Anyway, what you have to do is wait for the little needle on the gauge on the side to get to the gray zone and then press the start button. Simple. I am definitely not highlighting this for a part of the game later. After these initial moments, we exit the tunnel. Might I add, I love the ambience here. Every time I hear it, it makes me think of Duel, the 71 Steven Spielberg movie. It just sounds a lot like the Semi. So we pull up to another gate. There's a vehicle here but no sign of any people. After the gate opens and we drive through, we hear a helicopter and then we see it pass over us. I will get to what I think this is in a bit. That's right, I am even going to talk about what I think the story of the game is. Anyway, so we drive up a bit and go around this huge crater which is here for some reason. The road goes around it and there are barriers. Don't hit them at full speed because you will eat shit. As we drive along, you'll notice how desolate and barren the area is. I assume we're on some secret Soviet military base in the Siberian plains during the 80s or very early 90s. The only sound is the sound of the engine in the car. The sky is overcast. We can't see the sun. We continue to drive along this gravel road. There are fences on both sides of us, keeping us from getting too far off the gravel road. There's one section with a break in the fence, however, which we can drive through. In here, we will find a crashed fighter jet. It's a cool little sight, and it's easy to miss. If you continue, you get brought right back out to the main road. By this point, I'm thinking, I really love the atmosphere in this game. It's very cool, it's very eerie, and it's very liminal. In horror, the two things I love and that creep me out the most are liminality and isolation. So the game is doing great so far. Anyway, we keep driving, go down this hill, go around a bend, drive up another hill, and holy shit! This truck, which is a Kamaz by the way, absolutely scared the shit out of me the first time I saw it. Yeah, it definitely killed me. I'm willing to bet that everyone who played this for the first time absolutely ate shit from that truck the first time they drove over that hill. We can follow this truck, which I will talk about in the section where I explain what I think the story of the game is. Also, this thing honks at you, and it's a weird high pitch horn, so if you have your volume all the way up, this encounter is extra scary. I think this is a pretty good jump scare because the game tries to get you to not really think about it. Because this whole time so far, we've just been driving down this gravel road, and there are hills we drive over just like this earlier in the game, and nothing happened. The game has given you no reason to think that there is anything on the other side of this hill, but more of the same. But no. Against all odds, if you drive up the center of this hill, and the timing is right, you will be greeted with a pretty good jump scare. After this, an extremely eerie ambience kicks in as we drive along. We go under a bridge and come to, would you look at that, a paved road. To the right is a building of some sort with a wall around it. We turn left and continue up the road. There are telephone poles here, so be careful. If you hit them, you will eat shit. We continue up the hill and enter a tunnel. We turn and the level ends. So that is the end of level 1. This is as far as you can get in the light version. So far, I think this game is phenomenal for a mobile driving horror game. I mean, I don't think there's much competition, but anyway. So let's continue and see if the next 2 levels can live up to or surpass level 1. We start level 2, which has my favorite loading screen so far. Hell, I liked it so much I put it in the thumbnail for this very video. It's on par with the first image and looks like it's from a similar region to the first one as well. The picture is of a factory off in the distance and just looks really liminal and eerie. It looks like the picture was taken from a road a little ways away from the factory. So all in all, I love this image. And I think at the end, I'm going to put all the loading screen images up just so you can see them all together. Because I know I've said this a lot, but they are just amazing. And they fit the game really well. So after the game loads, we start exactly from where we left off in level 1. We go around another corner and exit the tunnel. We can immediately notice it's darker than the last level. It's still overcast, but the sky's way darker. It's getting later in the day. While we're driving down the road, we can see a road sign. Don't hit it, you will eat shit. Again. As we're driving, we can find a side road. This is the first time in the game we can see branching paths we can drive down. If we turn down this side road, we will come to a gate, and beyond this is a small military base inside this much larger closed area. At this base is a helicopter, 2 more helicopters, and 1 huge helicopter. I mean it, this thing is fucking massive. The helicopters have a red star on them, which pretty much confirms that we are in the Soviet Union and that we are in a Soviet military base. There is also an APC in this shed, I think. I'm not an expert on military vehicles, but I'm like 99% sure this is an APC. There's also one of those spinny things they have at airports, so that's cool. I think it's a radar thing. There is still no sign of any people having been here for a bit. I also realized while writing this that this is probably where the helicopter we saw at the beginning took off from. Anyway, there's also some tanks scattered around. I'm going to say this now so I don't have to repeat it throughout this level. There are a bunch of abandoned tanks littered around this level. Some look broken down and others just look discarded and left to rot. There's a dirt road we can use to get back to the main road. If you take this route back to the main road, you won't miss anything between the dirt road and the first turn off. I do like how level 2 so far has a different area you can explore if you want to. Level 1 had a much more linear path, which is good for what level 1 is, an introduction to the game. In level 2, you don't have to explore that small military base. In fact, it's easy to miss if you just follow the main paved road. So next, we keep following the main road. We see another side road we can go down. But if we keep driving down the main road, we will come to a roadblock. There are concrete barriers with some tanks. So let's turn around and go back to that side road. This road is notably longer than the last side road. There are some trees on the side. As we continue on, we come to a bend with some buildings and some train tracks in and around it. There's also a concrete wall around the buildings. You can drive around here, which is cool. Allows you to do some more exploring. When you're done exploring, or if you just blew right past it, you come to a little section which I quite enjoy. So this stretch of road is long and straight. We do see some train cars on the track, but no train. And as we continue down this section, we start running into all kinds of shit for some reason. I don't know what the fuck this stuff is. Are these bugs? Is it dirt or dust? It does sound quite windy as we drive through it. I really have no idea. When I first played this section, I found it a little intense, which is good for a horror game. I like this because whatever this stuff is, and the wind, starts out subtle and slowly picks up and gets more intense as the scene goes on. We see some building outlines off in the distance, and they fade in as we get closer. In no time, a huge factory complex is standing before us. Also, side note, I think this factory is modeled after the one from the loading screen. I mean, they look the exact same. It's like if you drive around in this one, you start to realize that that is what it would be like to drive around in the one in the loading screen, if that makes sense. There's a concrete wall all the way around the factory. We drive through an open gate to get into the factory, and there's only one other way out, a gate up at the front. We entered through the side. The gate at the front is closed, and since we have the unfortunate ability of being unable to get out of our car, it looks like we're in a bit of a pickle. Also, I noticed this while I was doing the final recording of the gameplay for when I had to get footage of the closed gate. The gate actually starts out open, and you can see it start to close, and you can see it closing. If when you enter the factory, you drive straight up to the front. There are no people around, so how the fuck did this gate close on its own? Once again, we can explore here, or just get through it as fast as you can. There are a bunch of buildings here, still no signs of life anywhere. But there is an old ZIL 130, which is cool, considering I like old Soviet trucks. The building directly in front of us when we drove in is actually open. We can go inside it. It looks like a typical factory building. But we can drive down this ramp that takes us into the basement. And I just want to say, I love that the darkness is literally just a black wall you drive through. Immediately after driving through the wall of darkness, we turn our lights on and enter the basement. If we turn left at the bottom of the ramp, we go into a room with a ton of pillars, pipes, and power boxes. There's nothing to do here. So if we go back to the main room and go to what would have been the right when we first got down here, we see an open door. We drive over to it and ignore the huge hole in the corner of the room, and we drive through the door. We can drive for a few meters before we come to an abrupt stop. There are two doors in front of us. One open, one closed. Our lights go off and the dashboard lights dim. A light source comes from behind us, most easily seen through the rear view mirror. After sitting here for what feels like 10 plus seconds, we hear the sound of huge metal grinding. I think it's the door closing behind us. Oh shit boys, how are we gonna make it out of this one? We hear the sounds of multiple groups of footsteps getting louder and louder. They get closer to our car, then they stop, what sounds like right behind us. Then we hear the sound of banging on our car, and the dim light from behind us starts flashing. Remember that simple starting function I said I was not highlighting for a later section? Well, I mean, it's still simple, but they made it a hell of a lot fucking harder. So everything still works the same, except for the needle on the gauge. So this thing now bounces around so fast, but you still have to hit it when it lands on the green. It's ridiculous. You have at most 2 attempts to hit the button before you die. And if you wait too long to hit the button, you will still die. To be honest, this part can be really annoying, and if you don't have your hand-eye coordination skill maxed out IRL, you're gonna have a rough time. If you do fail, you will see the shadow of a weird-ass hand reach into your car, and you also hear your wimpy-ass scream. Also, each time you do hit the start button at the wrong time, you will see these weird shadow figures on the wall. These things actually look pretty creepy considering they're just shadows and you only see them for a couple seconds before your car lights go off again. If you fail this section, the game will actually respawn you all the way back onto the road we first turned onto to bring us to the factory in the first place. From there, you just keep trying till you can pass the challenge. Now, I do have a massive problem with this section that I will talk about later because I want to compare it with another section that handles my issue with this section way better. When or if you do finish this honestly annoying as fuck section that is not that annoying, if you pass it your first try, you can exit through the door in front of you on the right. We go through the door, drive up the ramp, back out of the basement, thank God. Just like when we drove down here, we drive through a wall of darkness, literally. We are now in another one of the buildings in the factory complex. In here, there are some lathes, which I thought was pretty cool considering they're quite detailed for the environment that they're in. The door to this building was not open when we entered the factory, but it is now, somehow. We leave the building, and if we now drive to the front gate, it is now open, somehow. The road out of the factory has some more trees and more tanks along it, some in worse condition than others. It almost looks like the crews just abandoned these tanks mid-use out of nowhere. We pass through a fence and we're back to the main road. To the left is the roadblock we saw from the other side. If we turn right, we're back on the main road, but there is another gravel road directly in front of us. This road has some more trees and it leads to a long concrete wall with closed metal doors. Now you're probably thinking one of two things at the sight of this. This was a huge fucking waste of time, or that's cool. So back to the main road we go. Continuing on the main road, if we drive a bit, we see a couple trees. As we drive, more trees fade into view. Maybe level 3 is going to take place in a forest. Foreshadowing anyone? We drive past the fence that's kept us in levels 1 and 2 this whole time, and the level ends. So that was level 2. And I think it was pretty damn good. We got to do way more exploring than in level 1, and level 2 was way larger. Level 2 is the largest level in the game, and it's pretty damn good, and it does live up to the standards of level 1. As we're going to see in a bit, level 3 has a bit of a different vibe than level 1 and 2 did, but don't worry, it's still creepy. But first, before we get into all of that, I would like to discuss what I think the story of the game is. It may be completely wrong, but it's what I got from the game. And the only reason I'm discussing this now before finishing the game is so later on I can make one kind of funny comment that will make sense if I do this section first. So let's start with time and place. The Gaz 3110 we're driving is a pretty big clue. I actually found out when I googled the years of the Gaz 3110 that it was only manufactured from 1996 to 2004, which kind of bummed me out because I thought for sure this game took place during the Soviet Union era. But then again, I got this information from Wikipedia because that was the first site that came up, so take it with a grain of salt. So this information could be total bullshit, but I'll roll with it. So the earliest this game could take place is 1996, so I'm going to go with 1996 because I think the closer to the Soviet Union era, the better, and I can't imagine this game set in the 2000s. Next, it's kind of obvious the game takes place in Russia, but I don't know exactly where in Russia. There are 2 regions in Russia I think the game could take place in, and I can't decide which one to choose. I think the game either takes place in the Russian plains or the West Siberian plains. So I'll say the time is 1996, and the place is one of those 2 locations. So let's go further. The closed area we're driving around on is a Russian military base. So who are we? I don't think we're just some random civilian. The reason is that the gate at the very beginning of the game opened for us, and I, for one, believe, unlike the gate at the factory, the first gate was opened for us by an actual person. And what guard at a military base would just let some random in? And if I'm wrong and some random civilian was just let into this closed area by some guard, then that guard should be fired, because bro is not doing his job. Anyway, back to the story. So far, I believe we are a Russian official in the mid to late 90s on a military base in the Russian/West Siberian plains. Side note, there was probably another guard at the gate behind us when we started the game that also let us in. If we are a civilian, which I doubt, that guy should also be fired. So why are we here? I think the government official that we play as was called in to investigate some weird sort of stuff that's been going on here recently. Remember how I mentioned a lack of people as I discussed levels 1 and 2? I think this base has been evacuated due to the weird stuff that's going on, and I think the majority of people have already left. The few people left are, I think, the guard at the gate behind us when we start the game, and the guard at the first gate we go to. Also, that helicopter. Remember that one at the very start of the game? We hear a helicopter, and then we see it pass over us. I will get to what I think this is in a bit. That's right, I am even going to talk about what I think the story of the game is. I think this was some of the last troops being evacuated from the base. Specifically, the second last people to leave after the people at the gates. Let's hope the people in the helicopter made it out alright, because there was actually another group of people that did not make it out alright. Remember the first big scare in the game where the truck comes over the hill and if it's your first time playing it kills you? Remember how I mentioned you can follow this truck? Well, if you do decide to follow this truck, which by the way I think is cool, because the game doesn't tell you to follow the truck. The first time you get by this truck, you will probably just drive past it. You are the one who decides to follow the truck, which is cool. Well, unless you're gonna play the game after basically hearing me tell you to follow the truck. But I did warn you, spoilers at the beginning. As I was saying, if you follow this truck, it goes back the way you came, around a couple turns. The truck is just as fast as your little Gaz 3110, so avoid going on the grass. I think I forgot to mention this earlier, but the car actually drives faster on the road and slower on the grass, which is a nice detail for a mobile game. Also, the car physics in this game are pretty good, and I like them a lot. While the truck is about to go around one corner, it unexpectedly keeps driving forward. It goes off the road and hits a tree. Let me just say this is not a mistake. It's not because you weren't supposed to follow the truck and it just stopped following the road. This was meant to happen. What's my proof? Well, the truck has a destroyed model. That's right, if you drive up to the truck and look at the front, it's wrecked. The windshield is cracked and the cab is launched forward about a foot. I love this detail in the game. It's pretty cool and it's on you to find it yourself. I'm going to come back to this later when something happens to us, but for now let's recap the story I've come up with so far. It's 1996. We are a Russian government official, and we've been sent to a military closed area on the plains of Russia to investigate some weird stuff that's been going on lately. The closed area has been evacuated, and by the time we show up, the only people still on their way out is a helicopter and a truck. But unfortunately, the people in the truck don't make it. This whole game, we travel deeper into this closed area. We need to find out what's happening here. Whatever it is, it's so bad it got the entire military base evacuated. As we get further into the game, it feels like we're traveling deeper and deeper into the center of this base, and it feels like we're not going to leave. I could be completely wrong on all of this, and none of it could be developer intended. But this is the theory I got from playing the game. And theorizing about a video game is fun. It was fun coming up with this theory and putting a story to the game. And I think my story goes with the game pretty well. So let's get on to the final level, level 3. As per the norm, I am first going to discuss the awesome loading screen. I loved the level 1 loading screen. I loved the level 2 loading screen. So does the level 3 loading screen live up to the first two? I'm happy to report, yes it does. Just like how the first two loading screens fit the vibes of their levels, the level 3 loading screen fits the vibes of level 3 very well. The level 3 loading screen is black and white, just like the others, and features a road through a misty forest. To the right, a downhill slope. To the left, a steep uphill. A paved road goes through the center of the shot. The road is shiny, as a result of the rain that probably just passed. The road bends to the left and goes around the hill at the top of the shot. I absolutely love this image because it has a damp, misty feel to it in this cool forest. And it also looks like something straight out of Beware, which, if you'll remember, is the game that basically led to me finding this game in the first place. Also, fun fact about this image, I Google image searched all 3 of these loading screen images, and this was the only one where I actually found the exact image. I also found some that show more of the picture, so that's interesting. Also, through Google image searching this image, I went down a rabbit hole, and by rabbit hole I basically mean I just did a lot of digging and found out that the original image is called Into the Mist and may have been taken by a man named Greg Martin, but I'm not 100% sure. I'm like 99% sure. So starting on the actual level, the dusk from level 2 is gone and it's now full on nighttime. We can actually see a pretty cool galaxy in the skybox. We are on a paved road in the middle of the forest, surrounded by trees, as you often are when you're in the forest. I don't think we're gonna have much opportunity to explore in this level. There's only one way to go, so we push forward. Technically we could go back, but I think either we can't or that just takes us to level 2 again. As we drive through the woods, we can hear a Yahoo off in the distance. Then we come to a spot with no trees, but guardrails on both sides due to a corner. After the corner, the guardrails are gone, and I don't know why I never tried to explore here, but hey, all the more reason for you guys to. Also, something I forgot to mention, at the end of level 2, right before the level ends and right after we pass through the fence, I wonder if you could go off the road and along the fence and get out of bounds. I'm the type of guy who is always wondering about, thinking about, and looking for ways to get out of bounds in video games, just because I think it's cool to explore things like that. Anyway, so back to level 3. Within about 5 seconds, if you go in full speed, the trees come back on the right. Guardrails appear whenever we go around the corner. Then the trees come back on the left, and we're surrounded by woods again, and the time for exploring is over. Not that I did any, for some reason. We continue to drive through the forest with more of the same in little clearings in the trees here and there. We also hear more Yahoos. Fantastic. We drive and drive and drive with some twists in the road, and only the sounds of our car and the occasional Yahoo. This goes on for a bit longer, then we get to these concrete barriers. They're the really dangerous kind, because any way you hit them at top speed in this game, you will eat shit. So as we're driving through what could be the side of a mountain for all I know, we come to what looks like a torched Russian army vehicle in the middle of the road. If you've played this before, the first time it likely caught you off guard and killed you after you plowed into it. I should know. It happened to me. I actually think these may have been the very last people to try and escape before something happened to them, so we continue driving for a little while longer, before going around one corner when something starts fucking with our steering, trying to make us crash into the guardrail or go off the road, both of which will immediately kill us. Pro tip, I actually found the exact corner and point when the thing starts to take over the steering. So whenever I get to this point, I always slow right down. So I'm always going as slow as possible when this thing starts to take over the steering. If we do die, we just respawn a little back down the road. When we do pass this little challenge, immediately afterwards there's a blink and you'll miss it moment where there's a car in the ditch and it's facing the direction we're driving. The previous vehicle we saw, yeah, the one that got torched, was clearly driving in the direction away from where we're going. So either this car spun out big time, or they were driving towards the danger. After this, you guessed it, we keep driving through the forest. After we round another corner, we can see what looks like some dirt on the road. Then this thing just flashes up on screen. The screen goes black for a second. We see the thing again, even bigger this time. We are completely in the dirt that's just on the road for some reason. This whole time our tires are squealing. The screen goes black again. Next thing you know, we've gone over the guardrail and now we're barreling downhill through the woods. So I just want to say, I think this thing is what has been fucking with us this whole time. I also think this thing also appeared in front of the truck from level 1, and that's why they went off the road and crashed as well. See, I said I would come back to that. I don't think this thing is alone in being the villain. I think it's got all those other shadow figures from the factory basement as henchmen, but I still think this thing is the head honcho, and that it was the thing to reach in and grab us in the factory basement if we did fail to start the car. Okay, so now we're flying down the side of a mountain into trees with no brakes, because I guess that thing decided to go under our car and do some mechanic work while we were busy jumping the guardrail. So womp womp for our Russian government official, I guess. That was the joke I said would make sense if I did the analysis bit first. This section can be a bit annoying if you keep failing it over and over, but besides that, it's actually quite fun. This whole section is you're just driving down a hill, no brakes, and all you have to do is dodge the trees. It only takes about 30 seconds to reach the bottom, but it can feel like way longer because you're so focused. Now, remember when I said there was a problem I had with the basement section in level 2? That I said I would talk about later on because a later section handles my issue with that section way better. Well, it's time to talk about that issue. I would like to start with, I know the basement section of level 2 and this section in level 3 are nowhere near the same thing. In level 2, if you fail that tiny little part, you have to start from so far back. It's ridiculous. It takes you 5 minutes to drive back, get down to the basement, and sit in the dark. Hell, you sit in the dark for a full minute, and when the button finally does come up, you have at most 2 chances in the span of about 10 seconds to push it at the right time while the needle's going all crazy. And if you mess up, you have to waste another 5 minutes driving back just for that 10-second window. That's why that bit in the basement can get annoying real fast if you don't get it first try. So how does this section in the woods handle that issue way better? Well, through this whole bit, whenever you hit a tree, you instantly die. And whenever you die, you respawn right at the top of the hill again, right after you would have just gone over the guardrail. You don't have to waste any time getting back there because you're already there. It's constant action. If this respawn was handled like the one in level 2, we would be put back to where we saw the torched car. I think this section in level 2 should respawn you right when you were about to enter the basement or enter the factory. So yeah, that's how the respawn in this part was handled way better than the respawn in level 2. So back to the game. So when we do get to the bottom of the hill, you will know because it starts to flatten out. Control is taken away from us and the buttons on the screen disappear. As we coast to a stop, we see a cabin in front of us, deep in the middle of the woods. It's a small rectangular cabin, lifted about 2 feet off the ground by tree stumps with exposed roots coming out of each corner. Yeah, cause that makes sense. The car comes to a stop. The door of the cabin opens with squeaks. The lights on our car start flashing. And how does this game end? A jump scare. Yeah, this thing just jumps up and kills us and screams at us. I don't know if this is supposed to be the same thing that caused us to drive off the road in the first place, but it might be, or it might not be. The screen then cuts to black and we're back at the main menu. And that was level 3. I thought it was really good and lived up to how good the loading screen was. There's no credits for the game anywhere in the game, which leads me to believe Alexandr Chuvanov did everything in the game himself, which is pretty darn cool. And there we have it, That was the entirety of Closed Area. It's a pretty short game and can be finished in around 20 to 30 minutes. I really like this game. It's simple, it's a great little driving horror game, and it's got a great atmosphere. Also, one more time, I absolutely love the photos in the loading screens. Here are all 3 photos together, and I can't believe I even found the original level 3 image. The original photo actually showed way more than the photo in the game, so here is that photo. I challenge someone out there to find the original level 1 and 2 photos as well, because I would love to see those. I'm a fan of the simpler type of games, and this game is a great example of that. The car physics are actually really good, and it was fun coming up with my own theory for what I think the story of the game is. So Alexander, I just want to say, thank you for the game. Now you might be thinking, why did I decide to do this? Why did I decide to spend 4+ weeks making this video about a mobile game from 2015? This isn't even my usual content, so people might not even watch this. But this is a great game that very few people know or talk about, so I'm going to talk about it. And I want to do more of these essay style videos, and I want to talk about things like this that not many people talk about. On YouTube, I watch all kinds of different content, including Let's Plays, but by far, the type of content I watch the most, more than anything, are essay videos. Sort of like this one I'm trying to make. Essay videos were always the style of content I imagined myself making, and what I wanted to make on this channel. But I only ever did Let's Plays because 1, I didn't have anything to talk about, and mainly 2, I could not edit for shit. But now I can make things like this, and I can find topics like this to talk about. I'm probably going to make more videos like this. Don't worry, I'm still going to be uploading Let's Plays, mainly my summer car. And who knows, maybe one day I'll make a video essay on that game. It's no wonder I started with Let's Plays on YouTube because it's so easy to make a Let's Play. Because all you have to do is record yourself playing a game and upload it. Also maybe making a few minor edits. For this video, I had to write a script and get all the gameplay recorded, and I had to do all that stuff. And hey, now I'm recording myself reading the script. And next I have to go edit it all together in a way that is presentable. In its own way, it's just as fun, if not more fun, than making my usual content, but it's also 5 to 10 times more work and time. But I did have a lot of fun making this video, and I am hoping this turns out to be my best video yet. Not like statistically, but like my best video to just like sit down and watch. I really hope this one turns out good. I just would like to say thank you everyone for watching so much. I really hope you enjoyed this video, and yeah, the rest of this video is just me gonna be ranting about some stuff. So if you came just to hear about the game, thank you so much for watching, and I will see you in the next one. You may notice that it's brighter in here now, and no, that's not because it's a different day, it's morning. I've been filming since 10:30 last night. It's now 6:30 in the morning, I think. And yeah, so now basically just to close out this video, I'm just gonna be talking about random stuff. So first off, this is basically just completely off script, by the way. Anyway, this is basically yeah. Okay, so this video has been a long time coming. This is without a doubt the longest video I have ever worked on my channel, which is cool. And this has been the most effort I have ever poured into a video. I'm working hard. I was working really hard to make this the best video on the channel yet, which I'll explain the reason for in a little bit, like couple minutes, I think. But yeah, and there was also a little bit of pressure for this video, honestly, because I know there were some people on the channel who were looking forward to it and wanted to see just what it was all about. Some of that I did to myself, because I did announce it like a while ago, and I kept saying when it would be out. It never came out, and yeah, I just basically yeah, I basically said it was coming out way too early compared to when it's actually coming out now, which if you're seeing this, it's out obviously, so I don't have to worry about that anymore. It's also really cool to think that I am like the first person on YouTube to talk about this game in this way, because I know there's videos on the game, like there's videos on the game on YouTube, but none of them are None of them are like this one, like an essay video, so that's cool. And also, I do want to do more of these. I just gotta find stuff to talk about. And the reason I don't want to do a big, huge game is because with the way I'm doing this, the script would be like 100,000 characters long. Because, like, I pretty much covered every inch of this game, and trying to do that with one of the bigger games that I do play on my channel would be hell, honestly. Like, writing something that covers My Summer Car as in-depth as I covered this game would take absolutely forever. So that's why I want to find topics like this that are a little bit smaller. So yeah, that's why I chose this, because I've known about this game for years, and I always thought it'd be cool to do a video on, so it's finally happened. So that's cool. Changing the subject here, because we're moving on to the next topic. Now, if you are or one of those people who watch like a lot of the videos, you may have seen me unboxing a microphone a while ago that I said would improve my voice quality in my videos, and my voice quality in my videos hasn't gone up. Here's the mic. The reason is, well, I've been kind of really embarrassed to say this because it's gonna make me look like a real fucking idiot here, but I actually don't know how to set this up. I tried a whole bunch of things. I fiddle around with it from time to time to see if I can figure out how it works and stuff. And well, I found like a voice recorder thing on my computer that I think I could use, because it was just really quiet, so I got to figure out how to get it louder. I do have a pop filter for it. I think that's what that's called. So yeah, I never really brought it up because I was kind of embarrassed to say it, but who cares if I sound stupid on the internet? So yeah, hopefully by the next time I upload, maybe I will have figured this thing out, and my voice will sound all right then. But for now, I wanted to get this video done and out because I've been working on it for a long time. So I thought I don't have time to waste figuring this thing out anymore, so I'll just save it for next time. And for now, this will be like my last one where I just use like phone audio. That's what I recorded this whole thing on, my Samsung phone, and I am really tired right now. One reason I kind of wanted to was thinking about doing this for a little bit, because I think it would look better if I just held the mic here while I talk. I mean, I could have done that, but I mean, it's not even on, so it wouldn't have really you can easily see through the lie that it's not on. But yeah, would've looked somewhat better, but I think the way this video went was fine and stuff, and I gotta edit all of this now. And also, I want to say, if I haven't uploaded for a bit and it feels like I'm not there on the channel, like I haven't uploaded in a bit, or there's no activity, check the community posts, because if I'm not uploading videos or shorts, there's a good chance I've probably done like a little couple sentence post, like on an update or something. Basically, if you want the latest info on the channel, you can just check community posts. I'm really looking forward to see what the future of the channel brings, because this video is a step up from my other content in effort. So yeah, so yeah, I'm really proud of it. Filming for almost 8 hours straight. Well, I have had breaks in the middle. I did this video in sections, like when I would like I've been filming me talking like all night. That's why it started out as night and it's day now. Filming this in like sections like that and stuff has with like breaks in the middle, but like all night for 8 hours it is a little draining. Not draining because it gets old, but draining just because I'm really honestly fucking tired right now. But we're a bit busy today, so I guess I gotta stay up all day now. But I didn't want to push this back any further because I don't really have any other night I could do this. And I knew I wanted the whole video to be at night, and then I wanted the end of the video to be like very early morning. And I kind of missed that window a little bit because it's a little bit brighter than I would have liked right now, but I think I did pretty good with the timing and stuff. So yeah, I guess I could read this outro I wrote down in the script here. And so with that, I would like to thank you all so much for watching this video, or if you just stopped by, that's great too. Thank you so much. It means the absolute most to me. I'm thankful for every single one of you guys out there who watch or just stop by. It means the most. I had a great time making this video, and I hope you all had a good time watching it, and I will see you whenever the next video is. So long for now.